Something's changing with home energy, and it's not really about getting solar panels, buying the biggest battery possible, or turning your house into something out of a sci-fi film. It's about making your home a bit smarter with the electricity you already use. Because for years, most of us have done exactly the same thing. We use electricity whenever we need it. The supplier tells us what it costs, and the bills turn up at the end of the month. That's it. But now, depending on your tariff and your setup, some homes are starting to treat electricity a bit differently. They're charging when it's cheaper, using stored energy when it costs more, using solar when it is available, and generally trying not to buy all of their electricity at the worst possible time. And that sounds complicated, but honestly, it doesn't have to be. This isn't about sitting up at midnight switching appliances on, checking a spreadsheet every morning, or telling your family they're not allowed to boil the kettle until the tariff says it's okay. It's about having a system that does some of the thinking in the background. A really simple example is a home battery. Most people see batteries as something you buy after solar panels. Solar generates energy in the day, the battery stores what you don't use, and then you use it later in the evening. This is still a really good use for a battery, but it's only part of the picture now. If you have access to a tariff where electricity is cheaper overnight, a battery can charge when energy costs less, and then help power your home later when electricity is more expensive. So instead of buying every bit of energy you use during breakfast, while you're working from home, making dinner, watching TV, charging devices, running the dishwasher, or whatever else your house gets up to, some of that energy may already be sitting there in the battery, or earlier at a lower rate. And before anyone says it, no, that does not mean every home should rush out and buy a battery tomorrow. It depends on the tariff, how much electricity you use, when you use it, and whether the numbers actually stack up for your home. People are starting to think less about generating electricity and more about managing it properly. Solar panels are one part of it. A battery is one part of it. An EV charger can be another part. A smart tariff is a massive part of it. And when all work together, that's where a home starts to feel genuinely smart. Not because you can tell the lights to turn on with your voice, but because the house is making better decisions about when the energy is used. In summer, you might have a solar doing the heavy lifting. Your panels generate during the day, your home uses what it needs, the battery stores the rest, and anything left over may go back to the grid. Then, in winter, the setup might work differently. There is less solar around, so the battery may be charging more cheap overnight electricity instead. Same battery, same house, different job. And that is the bit a lot of people miss. A good energy setup does not have to operate in exactly the same way every day of the year. It should adapt around your usage, your tariff, and what the weather is doing. And that's where the apps and software can actually become useful. Rather than just something you look at once the system gets installed, you can start to see when your home uses the most electricity. You can see whether you're filling the battery from solar, from cheap grid electricity, or whether it is sitting there doing very little. You can see whether the tariff you're on is actually helping you, or whether it is quietly costing you more than it should. The smart bit is not having loads of technology for the sake of it. The smart bit is making sure every part of the system has a job. Your solar should be reducing the electricity you buy from the grid. Your battery should be storing useful energy, whether that comes from solar or cheaper overnight rates. Your EV charger should be charging at sensible times. And your tariff should work with the way your household actually lives, not against it. The mistake is assuming one product fixes everything. A battery on its own is not magic. Solar on its own is not magic. A cheap tariff on its own is not magic. But when they are planned properly, they can work together really well. And that is why some homeowners are starting to feel much more in control of their energy costs than they did a few years ago. They are not completely off-grid. They are not getting free electricity forever. They are just buying less electricity at the more expensive times. So when people ask me what a smart home really is now, that is my answer. It is not about gadgets. It is about control. It is about knowing where your energy is going, knowing when it is costing you the most, and having a setup that gives you options. Start with your usage. Look at when you use electricity. look at the tariff you're on. Then work out whether solar, battery storage, EV charging, or a combination of those things could actually help improve the way your home uses energy. Because the homes that are doing well right now are not necessarily the ones with the most expensive equipment. They are the ones with a system that has been thought through properly.